I want to start out by apologizing for having no update on the Uncharted 4 tournament that I was hosting. I got swamped last week and throughout this whole week with my day-to-day, and I never had an opportunity to provide you guys with an update or send out the invites through the events thing on PSN. So I hope to have that done by Friday, and that way once I get all the invites out to you folks that signed up for it, we can hopefully get this thing underway by next weekend if everybody's ready. So be on the lookout for that, you guys. So for the last few weeks, I've been playing Resident Evil. That game, for me at least, brings me back to the very first time I threw on Resident Evil with my brother back in the PS1 days. The lore, the atmosphere, the pop out scares. I mean, everything about it was just, or has been brilliant. But I ultimately ended up deciding to not play it anymore because I feel like I need to experience this in VR. So I'm going to hold out. I think halfway through it, and I'm going to hold out for whenever I pick up a VR, and then I'll pick it back up and play through it again, because I feel like this game just needs to be played in VR. And I honestly, as scared as I was getting with pop-out scares and whatnot, I'm going to die when I play this motherfucker on VR. I'm just going to, it's going to be terrible. I also picked up this Shadow Complex Remastered on one of the more recent PSN sales, and because I saw a trailer for it, I don't know, a few months back, and it looked really awesome, because I really enjoyed the other PlayStation indie game. I think it's a AA title called Counter Spy, and this game looked real similar to that, but was much deeper as far as gameplay and whatnot. So I went ahead and picked that up. It was like $5, and I'm not really sure how far I am into the game. I feel like I'm pretty close towards the end. Nolan North is the voice actor for the main protagonist, and he's essentially Nathan Drake. Like it's the same exact character. Like, he doesn't try to hide any of it. It's quite funny, but it's a really enjoyable game. It's got pretty good gameplay. If you guys haven't checked that game out, I think it's only like $14 normally, so even at $14 it's worth the price. But I would most likely wait for another sale, but if it comes across again on sale, definitely pick this game up. It's pretty awesome. I might upload some short video clips of it later to give some people an idea of what it is. Most of my time has been on Yakuza 0. I don't even know where to begin or how to sum it up, but this game has blown me away. I can't stress it enough. I downright love this game. I'm on chapter 6, and so far, just on the first 6 chapters, I can say without a shadow of a doubt, I'm enjoying the story more so than the entire Uncharted series combined. If that tells you anything, this game, there's so much to it, and there's too much to talk about. So I was going to do an earlier impressions, but I'm going to go ahead and wait until I finish the entire game, and then I'll do a complete review. But for a really good summary of our first impressions, check out Joey Luciano's video that he just did of his first impressions of the game. It's pretty spot on with my thoughts on it for the most part. But yeah, if you guys have not checked this out, this is a must-have. I think if you own a PlayStation and you're open to RPGs and open world games with really strong narrative, definitely pick this game up. It is downright amazing. So I also got access to the early beta, or whatever, the closed beta for For Honor, and I was really excited about this when I first saw it, because it reminded me of Bushido Blade from back in I don't know if that started on PS1 or PS2, but either way, it reminded me of that, which was like, a more grounded in realism kind of fighting game, really strategic based. You have to have a lot of strategy, and it takes a lot of skill to win each battle. That's what it reminded me of from the trailers. But then when I got a chance to play it, it doesn't have the one strike take off somebody's arm kind of thing, which I was hoping for, because that's what would happen in Bushido Blade, for instance. But for the most part, it really does deliver on everything I thought it was going to be. I thoroughly enjoyed my time with the beta, and I'm looking forward to the open beta coming up soon so I can play with more people. But just to give you an idea of what I experienced, on my very first online battle, it was 5 rounds, right? And so on the 5th round, I was up on a bridge with my opponent, and he was just spamming the block button. And no matter what I did, he would continue to block every attempt I made with an attack. And so finally, he kind of like cornered himself to the edge of this little bridge that had no barrier on it on either side of it. And I guess he didn't realize you could fall off. And so I just straight Spartan kicked his bitch ass off the bridge. And I was like, my life was hanging on by a thread, and I won the battle, and he was raging. And I was like, oh yeah, this game is a must buy. And not to mention, it has a really cool story to it, and I think the campaign might even deliver. It's a pretty badass game. So I look forward to seeing some of you folks on the beta, and if you happen to see me on playing it, hit me up. You may or may not know, but recently Sony released that they lost a bunch of money with their Hollywood division. And I saw that Anchorman put out on Twitter that he asked the question, do you think Sony should throw in the towel with their movie sector? And I just wanted to provide some thoughts on that, on what he said. Here's the way I look at it. The Sony brand, the PlayStation brand has been really good about focusing on the smaller development teams, the indies out, if you will, out in the gaming world. And they kind of really back them and support them and provide the tools and stuff necessary to, or even the advertisement necessary to get their games put out there to the masses. And like in gaming, film is the same way. When you have indie teams working, or smaller groups, smaller budget type movies or games, if they happen to do well, right, there's a higher return on their investment because it doesn't cost as much to make. Therefore, they can bring in a lot of profit. Things like Napoleon Dynamite, the movie Friday. Those were extremely low budget films, but look at what happened, how big those became. They're just phenomenon, and they just brought in so much profit, and that allows them to grow. And on top of that, they're not going to get pigeonholed into the Hollywood not having any fresh ideas, because while that is very true. From the big blockbuster titles that are out there, be it in gaming or film, the indies are always pushing the boundaries and pushing the limits. And in my opinion, Sony needs to take a page from their PlayStation book, right? And just focus on the smaller teams, focus on the smaller titles that are out there in the movie world, and really hit that hard. Get away from your remakes and all that bullshit that they've been doing in Hollywood. Recently, I just found out that they're not necessarily Sony, but they're redoing Scarface, and the main character that's going to be playing Scarface is going to be Leonardo DiCaprio. And I'm like, all right, Leonardo DiCaprio is one of my favorite actors, right? He's amazing. I have no doubt in my mind that he won't do a fantastic job. However, you can't redo fucking Scarface. That's just no. You just can't do that. That's ridiculous. So Hollywood is kind of stuck in a rut right now, just remaking a bunch of old shit. And Sony needs to get away from that and start focusing on some indie type movies. The independent films that are out there that I love are phenomenal. And I'm going to list out some of the widely considered some of the greatest independent films out there. I'm going to let it play out, and you can just look through some of the titles and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. If they would just focus on that, I think they could turn around their film industry or their film sector. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. If I'm onto something here, or if you think that they should just go ahead and drop the movie sector altogether, or should they do what the rumor is, and that is combine the PlayStation division with their film division, somehow magically making it profitable at that point. I don't really know what that means. That to me seems more scary than anything. But anyway, let me know in the comment section what you guys think, and hey, I appreciate it. Thanks for checking me out. See you next time.